Alex Webster looking on. Time running out. 6 minutes and 47 seconds remain. Cowboys run first down. Danny Reeves with the football. Again, great blocking out in front of Danny Reeves. And would you believe he fumbled the football? I don't believe it.
I don't either.
Well, hello. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video. And welcome to the Gridiron. And before we get started, I just want to say thank you so much, everyone out there who's been watching my videos. Thank you. If you can maybe give this video a thumbs up or possibly leave a comment below or maybe even share this video, it would mean so much to me. But at least anyway, just thank you so much for just taking time today to check out this video. Thank you. Well, before we get started, I just want to, those games, the two games yesterday, hopefully the two playoff games today will be close to what they were last time. I mean, the ones, I just want a quick shout out to the Bengals and the 49ers. Both games low scoring defensive wise, but the Lambeau Field, frigid temperatures, snowing, cold, grass, all that stuff. Oh man, it does my heart good. Defense, love it. I'm an old fart, so I like defense. So when it was at 19-16 and 13-10, both last second field goals. I mean, win the game, send their team on the road against the number one seeded team. Cincinnati knocks off Tennessee. San Fran goes in and knocks off the Packers and Aaron Rodgers, the number one seeds. Wow. Sends their teams into the championship games, so the respectable divisions or conferences. Oh, wow. Wow, fantastic games. I mean, I'm certainly looking for the Chiefs and the Bills. I mean, real quick here. I mean, that game, and then the game of the Rams. I mean, that should be another great game too. So I mean, looking, the two games on Sunday should be really good too. Really excited. Looking forward to the games today. But I just want to give a quick shout out to the Bengals and to the 49ers. Well done. Now, yesterday in Buffalo, Shane interviewed Brian Daboll and Leslie Frazier, the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator of the Bills. What you keep hearing is Daboll is a favorite, one of the favorites, shall we say. I mean, there's only like maybe 5 guys that they're going to be interviewing, right? Unless maybe another name pops up within the next day or so. But I mean, as far as I know, there's just 5. So I mean, Daboll's certainly one of the favorites. Now there's good points with Daboll, and then there's bad points. The video I did yesterday, kind of went over each the good and the bad. I mean, Daboll's never been a head coach. Sometimes you can be a good coordinator, doesn't mean you're going to be a good head coach. I mean, like Joe Judge. I mean, he was a good coordinator, maybe special teams, but he was a good coach and would teach and stuff like that and all. But as far as being a head coach, he was overwhelmed. Daboll's good offensively, good offensive coordinator. Can he be a good head coach? I mean, he looks promising because what he did with the Buffalo Bills offense and Josh Allen and all of that. But I mean, can he be a head coach? Leslie Frazier, good. He's got both. He's a good defensive coordinator, and he was a head coach. And one year he coached the Vikings for like 3.5 seasons. 2010. He was the interim coach. I think they were 3-3. 2011, they had a losing record. 2012, they were actually 2011 they were 3-13. The next year, 2012, they went to 10-6. That was the biggest jump in Minnesota Vikings history as far as winning games. They went from 3 wins to 10 wins in 1 year. They went to the playoffs. I think they lost to the Packers in the playoffs. But then the next year, they went back down to 5-10-1, and he wound up getting fired. So, I mean, he's a good defensive coordinator. You know, and if he doesn't leave Buffalo, he winds up being keeping up with the I mean, they got a good defense. You couple the Bills' offense with that defense, they're going to be good. Yeah, constantly they're going to be good. But the thing is, like with Frazier, you know, we said every year we know he can coach the defenses, do a fantastic job. But he hasn't been a coach since 2013. You know, I mean, I said in my video yesterday, I mean, it's like, you know, somebody, you know, oh, this guy hasn't been a coach for, you know, for 17 years. Let's bring him back. You know, I mean, it's not that easy. And then again, if he was that good of a coach or that good of a prospect from 2013, don't you think somebody would hire him as a coach? I mean, you know, you know how many coaching vacancies there have been since 2013? I mean, look at the Giants alone. I mean, you know, brought in Ben McAdoo, Matt Shermer, Joe Judge, right? Now we're bringing in another. Yeah, I mean, so the Giants have had many vacancies since. I mean, nobody's knocking on his door. Nobody's, you know, hiring him. So kind of makes you kind of wonder, you know, about as far as Leslie Frazier. But now the Giants are going to be interviewing Brian Flores. Now apparently John Mara personally reached out to him. Now I don't know if, you know, Shane had him on his short list, you know, but if he did, I mean, apparently somebody also mentioned, it was the New York Times and New York Post, that they were he was texting him, Shane was texting Flores, or they were calling each other or something or whatever, you know, so, but I mean, I know Mr. Merrill did personally reach out to Brian Flores. So, so they're going to be interviewing him. You know, obviously, you know, he coached the Dolphins for 3 years. They had back-to-back winning seasons. You know, 2020 they were 10-6. This past year they were 9-8. They're the only team in NFL history to have a 7-game losing streak and a 7-game winning streak in the same season. They started 1-7. Then they wound up winning 8 of the last 9 games, and they wound up 9-8. They beat the Patriots twice. You know, so I mean, and the back-to-back winning seasons that the Dolphins had were the first back-to-back winning seasons that they've had since 2002, 2003. So it's almost been 20 years since the unbelievable. Almost been 20 years since the Dolphins have had back-to-back winning seasons. I mean, when I first started watching football, I mean, that was like 1970. The Dolphins made the playoffs. 1971, the Dolphins went to the Super Bowl. 1972, the Dolphins had a perfect season. They won the Super Bowl. 1973, the Dolphins lost 2 games. They beat the Vikings 24-7 in the Super Bowl. In 2 years, the Dolphins were 26-2. I mean, they were phenomenal. 1974, they lost in the Sea of Hands game in Oakland. Kenny Stabler just lobbed the ball into the end zone. Clarence Davis, I believe, someone came down with it. And it was a Sea of Hands, and he came down with it, and they wound up beating the Dolphins 28-26. One of the best games ever. Yeah, but yeah. Then you got back into the 80s, and they had Dan Marino. Now they never won a Super Bowl or not, but I mean, you got Dan Marino. You're winning football games. You know what I'm saying? You know, then they had Don Shula coaching. So I mean, like they were always good. You know, maybe not winning Super Bowls, but you know, they always were good. You know, winning records and all of this stuff and everything. And it's just so weird. It's like all of a sudden now, like the past 20 years, like they can't even go to they've only gone to the playoffs 2 times since 2002. I mean, holy cow. Now Flores, I think, I think he can do well here. I mean, hell, he was born in Brooklyn, like I was reading, one of the worst neighborhoods of Brooklyn. My mother was born in Brooklyn. You know, she's a tough cookie. You know, but you know, I mean, he was born and raised in New York, right? Now he was coach. He was coaching in New England. Now you see a lot of these guys have kind of like a little New England flavor to them. All right. He was coaching in New England from 2008 to 2018. All right. You know, if he were to be a head coach here with the Giants, he could be, the offensive coordinator. I'm sorry, the defensive coordinator for the Giants. But the problem is, who would be the offensive coordinator? One of the I was just reading an article, and it was just kind of throwing it out there. One of the things they were talking about was possibly, name floating around, would be Bill O'Brien, who was in New England from 2007 to 2011. So that means from 2008 to 2011, 8, 9, 10, 11, those 4 years, all right, Bill O'Brien and Brian Flores were both in New England together. In the 2011, Bill O'Brien was the offensive coordinator for the Patriots. That was the second time that they went to the Super Bowl against the Giants and lost. But that year, the Patriots were the second best team offensive, with offensive statistics. So, I mean, he's a good offensive coordinator. The thing is right now, they're, Bill O'Brien, has got a nice job. He's the offensive coordinator and quarterback coach with Alabama. So, I mean, it's a pretty nice job there. Now, I don't know if he would leave Alabama, where it's, he's every year he has, I don't want to say the best of the best, but he's got unbelievable talent. Saban has unbelievable talent just constantly flowing in there. So every year he's going to have unbelievable talent to work with. Yeah, the rest of the team's going to be unbelievable, I mean, it's a pretty nice job. I mean, every year you're going to be, possibly in the championship game. I mean, that's a nice. Would he leave Alabama, Bill O'Brien, as a coordinator to come into the NFL as a coordinator? I don't know. Would he leave Alabama as a coordinator to come back into the pros to be a head coach? Not that we're talking. Wouldn't be a head coach with the Giants, but I mean any head coaching job. Now remember, I mean when Bill O'Brien was with the Texans, he took them to 4 playoffs in like a little over 6 years. So I mean, his track record. I mean, he left them in cap hell, boy. I'll tell you what. But his track record. I mean, he takes some teams to the playoffs. So. Now there is a connection there with O'Brien and Flores and Deshaun Watson. Pretty interesting. Now possibly, I mean, what I was reading in an article would they, if O'Brien and Flores, Flores would be the coach, could they get O'Brien from Alabama to be the offensive coordinator, and could they maybe make some type of a trade for Deshaun Watson if they could ever get his legal battles, figured out. I mean, that's always a possibility. So that was something that I saw. That was like Flores, but maybe he would do the defense. But the Giants, their biggest concern is the offensive line. Daniel Jones, what are we going to do with Saquon Barkley? What are we going to do with the offense to get it into the 21st century? So if Flores comes in, the offensive coordinator is a huge part of the puzzle there, Now the thing is also with Flores, he can coach, right? We know he can coach, but is he going to have a problem kind of wherever he goes? He had a problem with with Chris Greer, the GM of Miami. He didn't get along with him. Didn't get along with Tua Tagovailoa. He apparently had some problems with some of the coaches there. So I mean, if he has a attitude problem or what, I don't know how well it's going to work out in other places too. I mean, I understand you're the boss and all that, but sometimes you gotta simmer it down a little bit. Now, John Mara apparently was going to fire Tom Coughlin after the 2006 season, because he was just so uptight and all, and it had to be my way or the highway. He told him to relax a little bit, calm down, and all that and everything. And once he started doing what they do in 2007. They won the Super Bowl. His players started playing for him a lot harder. So, I mean, is that something? I mean, would Flores be able to do something like that? We know he's a good coordinator, and we know he can coach, right? But he hasn't, he was someplace for 3 years, had 2 winning seasons, didn't take him to the playoffs or nothing, and he has possibly, maybe a little problem with an attitude. So, we know he can coach and he's good, coordinator. But is the attitude problem going to keep flaring up for him? Then, of course, there's Dan Quinn. He's going to get an interview this week, too. He did a great job with the Cowboys defense this year. Also helped with the Cowboys that they got, Micah Parsons. Their first 6 draft picks this year were all on defense. The first 115, they had 6 of the first 115 picks in the draft, and they were all on defense. And but you got the talent, but also helps to have the coaching as well too. And he did a very, very good job, with their defense this year. Now also he coached the Atlanta Falcons from 2015 to 2020. He went to the playoffs 2 times, and of course he went to the one Super Bowl where they choked. They lost 28 to. They were winning 28-3, and they wound up losing in overtime to the Patriots. What unbelievable. Now, he was the defensive coordinator for the Legion of Boom Seattle from 2013 to 2014. They won the Super Bowl beating the Broncos and Peyton Manning. The one which happened to be in New Jersey, that was like one of the worst Super Bowls of all time. They beat them 43-8. They just killed them. His first year as a defensive coordinator with Seattle, they led the league in fewest points with 231, which is like 14 or 15 points a game, which is very impressive. The fewest yards allowed, which is they gave up that year, was 4,378, and they led the league in turnovers with 39, which is very impressive. Now that's the first time since the '85 Bears that any defense has done that. So you got to go from the 2013 Seattle Seahawks to that. You got to go all the way back 28 years to the Chicago Bears of '85. Led the league in turnovers, fewest yards allowed, fewest points allowed. So he had talent there once again too. But if you give him some talent, look what he can do with it. Right? Now if he was the head coach, he could do the defense. Who would the offensive coordinator be? It's not something. The Giants have a lot of talent on the defense. Obviously you just can't throw anybody in there in the defense and it's just going to take off. But they got talent. That their problem is the offense. Brian Flores, defense. Dan Quinn, defense. Who would the offensive coordinator be? And that leads me to my third person this week coming up who's going to get an interview, which would be Patrick Graham. And Patrick Graham is defense. He has no head coaching experience. Flores does, Dan Quinn does. So he has no head coaching experience, which would wind up, be a detriment to him, obviously. But, obviously, you got to give him credit. He did a very good job with the Giants' defense, which was on the field quite a bit because the Giants have no offense. And, there was a couple games, they gave up a whole bunch of points, but it wasn't that many. If their offense, they had any type of offense at all that could keep the ball any length of time at all, the defense would be on the sideline more, giving up less points. And, we don't have a dominant edge rusher. We have a couple guys here. Azeez had 8. He's not dominating. He's not like, oh, man, I wonder how many sacks Azeez is going to get. He had 8 sacks. He had like half a sack a game. So, we don't have a dominating, we lost Blake Martinez, right? We don't have a dominating edge rush. Our defensive front, Leonard Williams and Dexter Lawrence is nice, but some games we just got killed with the running, so the secondary did a nice job keeping a lot of stuff in front of them. We didn't give up a lot of long passes. That was huge this year. It was horrible many times just watching the other team dink and dunk its way down the field and score a field goal or touchdown, but we didn't give up a lot of long pass plays, right, which was huge. But he did it. He's done a very, very good job. He also said he had aspirations sooner or later he would like to be a head coach. So now he worked in New England. I got a lot of the New England flavor. He worked in New England from 2009 to 2015. All right. he overlapped with Bill O'Brien. Now, I don't know if, Bill O'Brien would wind up coming, that's once again coming out, but he overlapped with Bill O'Brien from 2009 to 2011. As I said, once again, would Bill O'Brien be the offensive coordinator and Patrick Graham could be the defensive coordinator / head coach. That would be a nice tandem. But I said, we need some, we have these three guys coming up all this week that are going to get head coaching. Actually 4 out of the 5 are all defense. Leslie Frazier, Brian Flores, Dan Quinn, and Patrick Graham. All 4 of them defensive minded coaches. The only one that's offensive is Brian Dable. So all these guys that are coming in this week, they can maybe take care of the defense, but who are they going to get as offensive coordinator? As I said, with Patrick Graham, could he get Bill O'Brien to come in? Because they have a little bit of flavor, from New England days. Could he get him to come in? Who knows? But Patrick Graham can certainly do the defense. Somebody else could do the offense. But once again, Patrick Graham has no coaching history, so could Patrick Graham run the whole show? And you're kind of like a little gun shy, because after what Ben McAdoo did, he had no head coaching experience. Look what he did, right? Look what Joe Judge did. No head coaching experience. So you want to, Pat Shurmur had some head coaching experience, but the head coaching experience he had was with Cleveland, and that was. So then he came over here with the Giants for 2 years, and he did, right? So do you want to take another shot in the dark of it? Somebody else who has no head coaching experience. Now the other thing was a little interesting too, would wind up being because as far as I know, Patrick Graham is still with the Giants and all. If we brought in another head coach, like maybe Brian Dable, right? Could somehow they get Patrick Graham to stay here as the defensive coordinator? Because if we could get Brian Dable to get some things going with the offense, right? Could you imagine what Patrick Graham could maybe do with the defense? The defense would certainly get better, but they're not on the field that long, right? Pretty interesting. Now, as I said, you got 4 guys here with New England flavor. You got Patrick Graham was with New England from 2009 to 2015. Brian Dable was with the Patriots 2 times, from 2000 to 2006, and in 2013 to 2016, Brian Dable was with the Patriots. Brian Flores was with the Patriots for 11 years, from 2008 to 2018. Then after that, he left and he became the coach of the Dolphins 2019, 20, and 21. Then you got Bill O'Brien was with New England for 5 years, 2007 to 2011, the 2 Super Bowls that the Giants wound up beating the Patriots. So you got 4 guys here, all a bit of a New England flavor, right? Could one of as I said, could one of these guys pull maybe Bill O'Brien away from Alabama? Who knows? But is there any clear-cut winners here? They all got little, problems to them. There's nobody that that really jumps off the page at you. There's somebody you think might do good. I said Brian Dable could probably, what he did with Josh Allen, and if Joe Schoen and Dable can get on the same page and all that and everything, if they bring the right people in and all of that, maybe what he can do with that offense, if he can get Daniel Jones, right, get some production out of him, we're not looking for 30 points a game, but man, if we score 24, 25 points a game, that would be huge. Score an extra 7, 8 points a game, that would be freaking huge. But the problem with Dable is he has no head coaching experience. It's a gamble. Leslie Frazier, great with the defense. He has head coaching experience, but he only had the 1 winning season, went to the playoffs 1 time. He had 2 really bad seasons there. He's been out since 2013, out of the head coaching job since 2013. Nobody's hired him since then as a head coach, right? So then you got Brian Flores, right? He's a good defensive coordinator, decent head coach. 2 back-to-back winning seasons for the Dolphins, right? But he might have some problems handling people and talking to people, and that's not good. and he had three years with the Dolphins. No playoff experiences, 2 winning seasons, but no nice long history. As I said, no playoffs or nothing. So, he's certainly one of the top 1 or 2. I got to put Dable up there and Flores up there as far as 1A, 1B, whatever, however you want to put it. I'd have to put Flores up there. So, but then you got Dan Quinn too, right? Now he had 5 years, and he did take the Falcons to the Super Bowl, right? And he's a very good defensive coordinator. The one problem is that when he was in Atlanta, they had a good offense, but he's a defensive coordinator, at heart. But their defense was one of the worst in the league. I mean, the defense was not very good when he was there. So so Dan Quinn, we know he can take a team to the playoffs and to the Super Bowl, and he's a very good defensive coordinator. So, right. Then then you got Patrick Graham. He has no head coaching experience whatsoever. I don't know who his offensive coordinator would be, but and the other thing is, I'm saying, can he run the whole show? He can work well with the defense, right? And he's been with the Giants, right? He likes being here and all that stuff. Right? Maybe give him a shot, right? Maybe keep him as the head coach / defensive coordinator. You just have to find out who the offensive coordinator would be. So I don't know if there's any real real clear favorite. Quinn would be intriguing. He took somebody to the Super Bowl. Flores, he can coach teams to winning records. And I said Dable. If you want to go offensive wise, you got to go Dable because he's the only offensive minded coaches here. Just who would his defensive coordinator be? But this stuff won't happen till this week, and they're not going to announce a head coach until Schoen gets introduced officially as the next GM of the New York Giants. But hopefully, this is Sunday, right? Hopefully by next Sunday, we'll find out who the next coach of the New York Football Giants will be. Well, as always, guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video. You guys stay safe out there and go Giants! Woo!